What's happening, guys? I'm AidanMCJ. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is on James's C2. Now, if you'll remember, this was one of the first cars I ever reviewed on my channel. Now, it's totally different. It's got a turbo and it's changed a lot of bits, so hopefully you'll like it. But yeah, thank you very much, James, for bringing it back onto the channel. And just before we go into the main subject of the video, we have got quite a few videos coming up soon, including my dad's car, a lot of other cars that I'm going to be reviewing, and the podcast is coming very soon. It's going to be called the MCJ Podcast on Spotify, and it'll be on YouTube as video form as well. Without further ado, let's get on with the video. Stay tuned. Right then, guys, so we're joined in the cockpit by James. It's been quite a while since we've had him on the channel. The last video did quite well. Now, obviously, we've done this video because we were actually asked to by maybe a subscriber. I'm hoping that he's a subscriber. If he's not, then go and subscribe. What are you doing with your life? But basically, yeah, he commented on the channel and asked me to do another video on this Citroen C2. Now, there is a big difference between this car and the car that we did a little while ago. It's the same car, but the internals are slightly different in the engine bay because this now has a turbo, which is one of the things that James talked to us in the last video of what he was going to actually do to the car. Now, I apologise for whether it's a little bit darker. I cannot seem to get the camera to adjust to how dark it is in this car. Now, obviously, all the linings and all the cockpit is all completely black, so apologies for that, but please bear with us. Now, we're going to talk to him a little bit about what is different on the car now than it was in the old video. Now, in the old video, there was a couple of things that I really liked about the car that he's actually took off. So that's definitely a bit of a difference, but we're going to talk to him now and see what he's done to the car. So if we talk on the outside modifications now, so what is different from this video from the last video? Because we're going to say, if you wanted to see the car before, go watch that video, although the cinematography is dog shit. So don't rate the cinematography. But now, hopefully, on this video, it's going to be a lot better. So we'll talk about the differences between the last video to this video now. What have we done to the outside of the car that is different?
What haven't we done?
Yeah. So there's quite a few differences.
Well, start with big wang on the back.
Yeah.
There was a bigger one that was BYC wing.
Yes.
Made for a Mark 7 Fiesta. I believe it was actually they did two. There was a normal one, there was a taller one, and I think mine was the taller one, which was worse for the car. But
right.
We made it fit. I thought it looked good at first. Looking back, I regret it terribly because although it was good, I don't know, it was just shit at the same time.
Yeah, you mentioned that the painting on it wasn't very good either, was it?
Well, it weren't necessarily that, it's just the look I was going for. It was, I wanted it here, but it was fucking up here, it was over the top.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, MGC Fabrications, it's made for the car.
Okay.
A nice little touch on this one, which I'm actually looking at right now, is they've put chevrons in the middle, which is the Citroen logo.
Right, okay. Well, that's That's really cool.
So that's a little added feature that they put, and also it just fits better. It mounts better. It's a lot more solid because the last one was abysmal. But that's one of the main things, and I know a lot of people are going to say it's front wheel drive, it shouldn't be on it, it's probably slowing the car down, and if it is, whatever, I like it, it looks good, and also it does actually help with braking because the brakes on this are ass. The next thing is we've also widened it because I've always wanted to wide body it. Originally was going to go down the genuine WRC, which is a Super 1600 kit, which at the time was out of my budget. So what we went with instead was I spoke to a good friend, Max Proudman. If you don't know who he is, you should do.
Yeah, maybe we'll get him on the channel at some point.
Which one? He's got that many cars. They're all worthy of a video.
We'll get them all on. We'll see.
Well,
Max.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, if you do know of Max, you know he's got a built Max Power Corsa. Now these are actually the hand-me-down arches off of that because before he had it resprayed, these are the ones that were on it, he wanted new ones. So we made him fit this. In terms of making the wheels fit, the wheels are 9J ET20 and they're 16s.
Yeah.
Same front and rear. And we have chunky boy spacers on it.
Yes, we got big spacers on the back. What were the mils on them?
I'm pretty sure it's like 2 spacers on the back that make up 80 and 2 on the front, so you're on 25.
Jesus. So hopefully them wheels are torqued up well.
Oh, they are. Also, since our last video, I've become a mechanic, so I actually know what I'm fucking talking about this time.
Yeah.
To an extent. Now, the nice thing with the spacers is they're not
You're so going to get called out on that now.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Disclaimer, I don't know everything, I just know some things. In regards to the spacers, it's nice because they're not just bolt on, then bolt on, then bolt on. These ones, the first initial spacer bolts into the hub and then they're studded.
Oh, it's a hub-centric one.
So,
then.
yeah.
Yes.
And it's also given me the option to change the normal wanky bolts to actual nice lugs, which I have TGR Motorsport ones with the spike end caps. Speaking of which, the wheels are also new. I had Fox FX 004s, I think they were.
Okay.
They were ass. I didn't like them wheels. They looked good at first, but then
a lot of people did like them, to be fair.
I know, but I grew up and realised that black wheels on cars just look shite.
Yeah, yeah.
Not all cars. Some do look good. For example, I know someone who has
a
15.
You're trying to look at the GTI. They ain't got black.
They're not fully black, but if they
were
were all black, it would look nice because it's not a black car. But black wheels on a black car, especially in my eyes, are just a big no-no.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not a fan. If you like it, you do you, boo. I don't like it, so I changed them, and they were wider as well.
Yeah.
You may notice the side skirt extensions. Now you may be asking, who made them? Were they Maxton? Are they? What's the other one? TRC?
Yeah.
Is it them? No.
They don't look like them.
No, these are tippers. They are house gutters.
Oh, right, okay. Tippers is in the construction firm. Yeah.
They are literally black house gutters cut in half, flipped upside down and bolted to my side skirts.
Right, okay.
They work. It makes it impossible to put a jack under the car, but they work and they complement the wide body. Because there's nothing made for these cars. That's the one thing I'm going to say. If you own a C2, you're going to agree with this. There is so little in terms of customisation you can buy for these cars.
Yes.
A lot of it is all do it yourself, make it yourself. Which was the old big wing. It was because at that point MGC weren't actually making wings for these.
Yeah.
It was only recently I've noticed they actually started doing this when I managed to bag one. Not only that, the rear wing on the old one actually shattered the glass on the rear windscreen.
Oh, that's
on the rear boot lid. So
that's never good.
So there was that. So I bought a tailgate and the wing together, which is ideal.
It's a little bit quieter out the back end. Have we still got the same exhaust system on it since last time?
Yes, we have. We have still got the same exhaust. However, there's also something else added onto the exhaust system, which is on the exhaust system.
Yes,
but it's under there.
Right,
it makes it slightly quieter, but I like it.
So obviously, this car was titled the Asbo C2, wasn't it? It's not quite as Asbo, although you did say it's got launch control and stuff on it. So it's still going to be Asbo, isn't it?
It's available on the debt free, so we can have a play with that later.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. We're going to have to see that later on.
What else?
Front end. There was something that I noticed that I didn't like that you'd changed. The Morettes. Now, obviously, you didn't rate them in the end, did you?
No.
Also, they would have been better for the air intake that you've got in there.
Yeah.
Because obviously now we're talking the exciting bit that's under the bonnet. in a minute. We'll be talking about that, but why did you change over to the normal standards again?
So the main reason was, in terms of Morettes in a whole, they are really good lights.
Yes.
However, mine were they were cracked, the paint was rubbish,
Okay.
they were falling apart, things like that. Also, the light output, now, original OGs have watched the original video will remember me saying that Angel eyes are pish
Yeah.
for light output.
Yeah.
The Morettes were slightly better, but it was around winter time when I actually decided to put stock ones back on, because nothing will beat the stock
Yeah.
potential of the headlights. And
Yeah.
also there are plans for these headlights.
Oh, okay.
They're going to be customised at some point. Bicycle. At some point they're going to be customised, split, sprayed and projectors put in.
Oh, okay.
And if push comes to shove and I'm able to, I'll actually put a cold air feed in these headlights.
Right.
Depends
okay.
how it does.
Well, hopefully we'll have that back on the channel at some point. We were on about something else that we're going to bring to the channel a little bit later on, so make sure you do stick around, like, comment, subscribe and all that, for the next instalment, because this car will be on the channel again, but in a couple, I would say, months or a couple of years, or we'll see what happens.
If I'm still right then.
On the front end, is there anything else that's different? Obviously, we can see there is an intercooler, obviously, but we'll talk about that with engine internals in a second. Anything else on the front end that's a bit different?
There is no longer a splitter or canards on, because mainly anyone who follows me on Instagram will see there was a universal splitter and canards on the front.
Right.
I took it off because, again, at first I liked it. Looking back, I think it looks a bit tacky. I can do better.
Yes.
So that'll be sorted
at some point in the future.
I can be bothered, yeah.
Okay. So if we move into the interior, are the seats the same? Obviously they've got covers on them, so I can't really tell whether they're the same.
The seats are exactly the same.
It's the same.
They've got their wear and tear.
Yeah.
The reason I got these covers is because, one, they're snap-on. You can't argue with it. They look good. And also, I was toying with the idea of getting red seats.
Yes.
So it was, I'm going to say cheap. It's not cheap because they're not cheap seat covers snap-on. It was a cheap way of seeing what I'd think about red seats in the car.
Right, okay.
I've decided against it because there's another set that I like, but for now they're staying because the red does actually kind of bang in here. So,
okay.
And also they hide the fact that the seats underneath are dire.
Is there anything else that's been done, so like gear knob? The last one I'm sure that you had in your car was purple or something, wasn't it, when we did the video, but I had that after on the ST.
Fiesta. This one, I think is code.
Right.
I think it's code. I think it's the same one, but it's meant to be a replicant of We Are Likewise, which is an Australian company.
Right, okay.
Which I think it's called the Chonky Boy.
Okay, nice.
I don't know, I just like it, but also recently as well I've actually cut the stick lower, so it was lower before, and I don't know if there was the short shifter was in there last time as well.
I'm not too sure.
But there is now well, they advertise it as a quick shift, but it's not, it's a short shift.
Yeah.
So that was better, but then I just put a longer fucking knob on anyway, so it kind of eliminated the idea. But
yeah. Is there anything different? The wheel's the same, isn't it?
No,
it's not the same.
It's another steering wheel. So originally I had a Super Quadro one, and then the last video I had that horrible code steering wheel, the one.
Right, yeah. Oh yes, yeah, I remember that one.
So I eventually switched back to the Super Quadro one for a bit, and then I was lucky enough to get this from work for very cheap, because I don't know, I liked it and I missed the deep dish feel.
Yeah.
And also it is actually the same quick release as well. I did have a code one, but I sold that and I bought this one back to see if I liked it or not. There will be a new one of them eventually as well.
So we'll talk about the heart of the beast. Obviously the 1.6 16 valve, is it? Yeah. Has been changed now, so obviously it's got forced induction. Big ups. Everyone loves forced induction. No one wants an NA. Unless it's a V8, well, we'll talk about that at some point in the next video or something. But yeah, so we have intercooler. So let's talk about intercooler and everything that has to go onto the car to change to having a turbo setup.
So, well, it's one of them. It's, as long as you know what a car needs to run that kind of thing, it's fairly simple. The hardest part is when you're doing a custom
tune
setup. You haven't had it all made from someone, they've made a full kit, you made it yourself. It's finding where to plumb the lines.
Yes.
So to answer your first question, intercooler, it's just an eBay intercooler. I believe it was Toyo Sport. It might not be that because that sounds like a high up company.
Yeah.
It could be, I don't know. But
Yeah.
regardless, we'll stick with eBay intercooler
Yeah.
because it sounds a bit more believable.
Okay.
And then, so you've got the intercooler. The turbo is actually a French Rouhan war whistle. It's off a Peugeot 207 GTI.
Yeah. And we're thinking it's probably a KO3.
I think it's equivalent to a KO3. Whether it is a genuine KO3, I don't know. But yeah, regardless, that's the turbo that's on it because the manifold practically bolts straight onto this block.
Yeah.
The only things we had to do was just slit and make the hole slightly bigger to actually mount it onto the block, and then the turbo had to be clocked slightly.
Yeah.
After that, it was just farting around here and there until it actually mounted. Once you got the turbo and the manifold mounted, the rest is just set it up, plumb it, you're done.
Have we got a bigger inlet manifold or is it stock?
No, inlet manifold is factory, but we do have bigger injectors. We're running 350Z injectors. I believe they're 350cc, go figure.
Yeah, something.
I was told they were 600 or 650cc, but I don't think that's the case. Because
I wouldn't have thought so.
I think that's way
a lot
too
bigger.
much.
Yeah,
way
they're a lot
too
bigger.
much.
You'd have bore wash and everything with that. I would have thought.
So that's what I think. But I know they're 350C injectors, so use that information however you want.
Yeah.
They work.
Have we got a billet fuel rail or anything?
No.
Have we got a stock fuel rail?
Engine is completely standard internals. The only things we've added are things to run the turbo. The only things upgraded was the injectors. Spark plugs as well. We've put better spark plugs in.
Yeah.
And also I've gone up in oil. So these used to run 530. I'm now running 1040 Shell, Hilux, whatever.
Slightly thicker.
Slightly thicker, so it just works a bit better and it doesn't get to places you don't want it.
So let's talk about, so obviously that's the main gist of the turbo kit. So what was this car standard? Brake horsepower
Factory,
wise?
these are 125, whether this was 125 at the time because it's an older car.
Yeah.
Cars will lose horsepower through wear and tear. Regardless, this should have been 125. Now it's running 11 psi, it's tuned. It hasn't been on a dyno, it was road tuned by a good friend of mine called Jake, who really knows his stuff with this. We reckon it's 170, 180. I personally think it's less. Some people think it's more that's been in the car, so until it's been on a dyno, we don't know, unfortunately. But conservatively, I'm not going to big it up and say, oh yeah, it's rapid, it can beat Supras, it can beat Type Rs. No. It does well against some things, but I'm not the kind of person to say, oh, it's this when I don't know for sure. I'd rather be humble with it. I know it's some people look and think, oh, that's a sick build, I love it, I bet it's dig quick. I'm going to sit there thinking, you know what, I'm humble, I don't know how quick it is.
Yeah.
It's quick enough for me for now.
We'll see how quick it is when I sit in it later on.
His face will tell you it, but...
Intake system, we didn't speak about intake system. Is it the same as it was on the car before?
No. So, in terms of intake system, it's pretty much as simple as you're going to get. There's a reducer from the turbo up, so we've gone from the turbo side, which I've forgotten, to a 2.5 inch.
Yes.
Which is your standard intercooler piping. I've got a pipe and a mushroom filter.
Right, okay. And also, we were talking a little bit off camera before. Now, obviously, the comment that we got was asking to see this car again with the turbo build. Now, we will say, well, I want to just put out there, if anyone like that guy that commented wanted to do a build like this, you said that there was a little bit of a problem with the electric throttle body. So just elaborate on that, just for them certain specific people that might want to know.
What me and the lad who helped me tune it believe is, because it's an electric throttle body, it tends to stick, or it doesn't cut fuel in, things like that. So when you're driving, sometimes it'll stick open. You might like it because it pops and bangs its head off. I don't, because it's annoying, because it uses fuel and it might fuck the turbo up. Also, when you're sitting there revving it for someone, it'll stick at a rev like you're holding it on, and they'll think, why are you holding the rev? It's not, it's the car doing it. That's number one. The biggest issue that I will tell everyone, and everyone who's ever turbo one of these will agree, is the bloody compression ratio from the engine and the turbo. Because you've got such high compression in a 16 valve 1.6.
Yeah.
It's such a small, we're going to call it KO3 for time's sake, a small KO3 turbo. In terms of its spool time and performance, you can't fault it.
Yeah.
As I daily this, say goodbye to cruising at anything above 50 mile an hour, because
Right, okay.
as you'll find out, I'll try and make it do it, which I don't have to try, it will do it. The turbo will spoil itself.
Yeah.
A friend of mine said it's called something called boost drag.
Right, okay.
Whether I know that or not, I don't know. I know it as boost surging or whatever, because I know compressor surge is the flutter noise you get, whereas boost surging, it kind of sucks it. It does it itself.
Yeah.
You can literally feather it. You could put a bit of cotton bud on the fucking throttle, and it will start doing it. This doesn't take anything. You've got to know how to control it. It's one of them things that you learn to deal with. If not, put a bigger turbo on.
Right. So that's everything inside and out. That's different from this car now than it was in the last video. So we'll now take it out for a spin and see what it's like. Right then, so we're in the C2. It's been a long time since I've been in this car, about 3 years or something, isn't it?
Something like that,
Yeah. It's very rattly.
Yeah.
I don't think that's changed.
If anything, it's worse.
We didn't speak about before. I noticed when I was following you up here how wide it is at the back, but you've also raised the suspension as well, isn't it?
Slightly, yeah.
It was a little bit uncomfortable last time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a bit bouncy, very hard, and a bit all over the place. But now we have a turbo, so we can get like a bit of a raw reaction to how I think of this car, because on the way up here he wouldn't send it or anything, so that I could get an actual raw reaction of what the car's like.
See, all those pulls were not even nearly hot.
Yeah. I didn't hear no popping and banging or anything as well.
Tried hard not to.
So we'll see what it's like. Fucking hell. Jesus. That flutter's sick, innit? I like that. It's like almost like a fucking Jap car.
I tell you, like, you don't expect it from this little fucking shitty turbo. It's brilliant.
Smell the fuel as well. Well, no, actually, that's the tyres spinning.
Tyres as well.
That's actually, I won't lie, guys, I didn't expect quite that much. Obviously, when he said like 160 to 170 brake, you don't think it's going to put it down like that.
No.
That's a bit brutal, isn't it, really?
That's why I think it's less. But due to the weight and size of it.
That is true. It doesn't weigh nothing, does it? Comes on really hard, though.
That's only half throttle. As soon as you hit about 3,000 RPM, that's it, you're on boost.
Yeah.
And you can hold it.
Fucking hell. Gee, I didn't expect this much, actually. I won't lie, I didn't expect it to go off like that.
It's slow to me. It's slow to me. I wanted to put it up to 15 psi, but Jake said there's no point.
Yeah.
More work than it's worth.
I mean, compared to, like, obviously my car or something that's like 300 brake upwards, it's the difference in the feeling of how the car puts it down. Like, mine's very smooth, and it'd spin the wheels like that, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel so like snatchy and like raw power than this does. This feels, because it weighs nothing.
Exactly, yeah.
It feels a lot more than it probably actually is.
Yeah. It's mad, because I'm surprised it does put it down, because it's got shit tyres on.
Yeah.
So much weight's been taken out of it. It only spins first gear, that's it.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it just grips every other gear.
Yeah. What tyres are we talking on the front? Or is it all round the same?
Couldn't tell you.
You couldn't tell it. I'm
I'm
pretty sure I saw Continental.
There's one Continental on the back that's worn to fuck. The other one, I don't know what that is. I think the front's like Avon or something.
Well, Avon aren't bad.
Yeah.
They're not bad. I had them on my Audi, and I put some on my Fiesta as well, and it gripped quite well. So it's not bad.
But NS2Rs are the ones I'm looking for.
Yes. Nankang.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal tyres.
Yeah.
Absolutely sick tyres.
Even the NS20s, I used to run NS20s all the time. I'm pretty sure I had NS20s on the last video.
Yeah.
you can't fault them. They're not.
No, they're good.
They're so
Good
inexpensive
tyres.
as well, and they're to be. Oh, it's not like a race tyre of sorts. They were really good, so I'm actually really excited to try out NS2Rs, but it's finding the size.
Well, during my time at DK Tuning, we put on NS2Rs on a lot of the faster builds that we had. Anything like over 400 brake, we put NS2Rs on.
Yeah.
And they grip like nothing. It's unbelievable the amount of grip that they have. I know I see what you're on about with the hunting. It's a little bit hunting.
Yeah, so
Between...
if I try and cruise it...
Yeah, you can just feel it lightly
If I get round
going.
Cyclist, done me a favour.
Cyclists, yes. Move out the way.
So there, I'm only holding it at barely anything.
Yeah.
See that? I weren't moving it in and out on the throttle at all. It just...
Yeah.
Like it just had
That flutter is next level, isn't it? That sounds sick, that does.
You don't expect it from a car.
It's like a proper little jack car.
Yeah. If you just give it a little bit, you get your typical KO3 foot along.
Yeah.
But if you really give it some, you hear that.
Yeah. That's sick, that is. I want that on my car. Mine just goes once. That's it.
Get the
Doesn't
blow
have no
valve
flutter.
off. Get the blow valve off. That's what it'll do. Block the blow valve off. It'll flutter.
I want it to flutter. That's the next thing on the build on the GTI.
Bearing in mind though, you get a lot of people saying, compressor surge is bad for the turbo. Yeah, but
it does spin it backwards. That's what's creating the noise, isn't it?
It does. But on the plus side, a lot of people, and I agree with as well, if you don't have a blow-off valve and you've got that compressor surge sound, you're actually because it takes longer to disperse. That's where you get the flutter sound from. You're actually holding the boost for longer. Whereas if you've got a blow-off valve, it lets it all out. You've got to start again.
Yeah, that is true because it's still on boost, isn't it? So really, slightly.
It's give and take, really. You can either have the really cool sound and hold the boost longer, and then you've got it'll wear the turbo down slightly more.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck. This is a 180 pound turbo. It doesn't bother me long.
Not really that.
If it was like, you had like an RS6 or something, it was like a fucking 2.5 grand to replace the turbo. I'd understand but flutter it all the way.
It handles well as well, isn't it? Did we speak about last time what suspension's on it?
We did, and it's the same suspension, FK
same
coilovers.
suspension.
Which
coilovers.
Surprisingly, full FK coilover. Surprisingly, I've snapped a pair in a pothole and then welded it. I've had a new set recently, and don't get me wrong, they're eBay, they're not going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
But they work. I don't have 1,200 quid to splash out on BCs or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I did, I would.
Fair.
If I did, I would, because I do really want some BCs on it. But for now, they do. They handle.
Yeah,
they work.
I mean that's fair enough.
They do the job.
It does go well. I'm actually surprised. It does actually go really well.
So when you're at 50 look, it's fine. You can cruise it. The second you go above 50, that's when that surging starts. It starts.
Yeah, I can feel it hunting a bit.
Because when it comes onto boost at about 3,000 RPM, that's when you start feeling that.
Yeah.
So when you're in fifth gear, you get up to 50 and you're just under 3,000 RPM. So that's why you can only.
It's almost like it's hunting, as in put your foot down kind of thing, innit?
Well, the one thing I say to everyone, it doesn't like going slow.
Yeah.
To me it's slow, but it doesn't like going slow.
Yeah.
It wants to be ragged.
So what map are we on at the moment? Just like a standard map?
It's a full map. So the system we're running is ECU Masters depth free.
We put these windows up a little bit. I think we're going to struggle to hear us a bit. Go on, carry on.
A little bit better. There's a depth-free ECU by ECU Masters, a piggyback ECU, and it allows you to completely tune it. It features fuel implant, it features ignition timing.
Right.
And that's all you need, really. Take timing out, add your fuel. It runs. That's all you need. Yeah. This car.
So, for someone that wants to turn their stock, 1.6 C2 into this, how much are we talking? First ball ache wise and second monetarily wise?
First thing you've got to know before you turbo it is you've got to deal with this. You've got to deal with the fact that it's not going to be a great daily. I've driven this to Wales, I've driven it to Coombe. I did 50 the whole way both times.
Right, okay.
Coombe was 3 hours there and back due to only being able to do that. You can't drive on the motorway because if you try and keep it at 60, you're going to blow your engine up.
Yeah.
Constant boosting.
Yeah,
It's not good. And the second thing you got to watch out for is have everything you need, because I was the same, because I've never touched a turbo before. I've learned so much doing this build, and mate Tyler Smith, shout out to Tyler Smith as well as Jake for helping me, because he helped me actually put it together, because he's familiar with turbo cells. I knew what I needed, but I didn't know how to
plumb it in,
do it. So just make sure you have everything you need. Anyone who does have a car with this lump in TU5, JP4 or the 4S, if you go on to C2 UK or Forget Boys and Girls, shout out Jadon, Jake's done a post that's been pinned so you can see the rundown of what you need and how you do it.
Right, okay. So that's a good shout then. Go there and have a look at
everything you need is there. Everything you need to buy is available. Just you need to, even if you find, because mine's a second-hand turbo manifold that came off the same car, so that's always a bonus. Just get new gaskets, brand new lines. Only go second-hand with the turbo manifold. Everything else you want to get brand new. If you can salvage a downpipe, do it. But bear in mind you will have to get it reflanged by an exhaust fabricator. Jack's Fab in Rouge did that for me. Shout out Jack's Fab as well. There's going to be a lot of shout outs in this video. This was not done alone, and like I said, I'm very humble. I will shout everyone who helped me.
That's fair play.
But other than that, just go for it. You've got two options for tuning. You can either go the way I did with Jake and go the depth-free route, or there's a lad called Leon Barton, who a lot of the C2 people know, who can actually tune the factory ECUs.
Right, okay.
He's done a couple. That's an option if you want to. So if that's something you're into, message Leon. If you're into doing something with the depth-free, message me or Jake. I can put you in contact with Jake, or find Jake yourself. Whatever you want to do.
And how much are we talking? So people that want to do this actual build, obviously we have the rundown and everything. How much was it to take your stock C2 to turbo?
So I'll run
in a roundabout way.
I'll do it briefly, and then anyone who wants to know, message me and I'll give you the full rundown. In terms of everything you need to turbo, so you've got your lines, your returns, your manifold, your turbo with it, your downpipe, your intercooler, your piping. Also you need an actuator, because it doesn't run off stock ECU. You need your injectors. You want to do your plugs as well, get some good plugs in. Also you're going to want to go up an oil size. Just that alone,
slightly thicker oil.
Just that alone, you're looking at $1,000 just under, if you can find the right place to get the parts, or you've got someone who has them already. Tuning on top, ECU, and you're going to want to get yourself an AFR gauge, because you can do it without it, but
you just want it. Any turbo car, you want it.
You're asking for trouble, because you're messing with the fuel and air ratios. You can't see what you're doing, then you're going to do something wrong. So you need to get, and Jake will recommend that you get one, because I don't actually think he will want to touch it, because understandably, if it goes wrong, it falls onto his head, and he doesn't need that, because he's a really good lad, he knows what he's doing. So on top of that, you've got because before, all the stuff before, you can run without a tune. It runs shit, but you can run it. I ran it for 6 months with no tune. It is doable, but I wouldn't recommend it. Then you get into the tuning half, so you're already about 900 a grand, maybe less, maybe more. AFR gauge, you're looking at just under 200, and the depth-free ECU, the one I'm using, is 250. And then also Jake will charge you 250 to wire and to tune.
Right, okay.
Can't fault him. He lives in Wigan. Just go and see him wherever you're from. It's worth the travel. If you even want to wire it up yourself, he can actually send you a base map to get you to drive it over. That's fine. I drove on my nappy ECU. It worked. Squirrel. It worked. It got there. Can't fault him. Now, in regards with Leon's service and doing the original ECU, I can't tell you, because I don't know. You're best off just asking him, but it'll be around the same. Because you've already got the ECU, it will be enough at the same time. It's quick enough. It got a reaction out of this man, and he's been in much quicker fucking cars than this. This ain't. I'm going to be completely humble on this front. This is not a quick car. You might disagree, you may agree. To me, it's not quick, but it does the job.
I mean, in the conventional sense, it's not quick, but the way that it puts the power down, it does feel a lot quicker than it is. And obviously, it's only a tiny little car, and you got to put that into the equation. If you put this kind of power in my car, it would be absolute slow garbage. But this weighs nothing.
Yeah.
So if it took this same engine and put it in like an MX-5 with the turbo setup and everything, it'd be rapid.
Yeah.
So you've got to take that into consideration. Obviously, you're daily driving it as well, so it doesn't feel the same to you than it would to me coming out of my car into something that's got no insulation or anything as well, so that does help. It does go, you know. It's a lot faster than I thought it was going to be.
It handles better as well.
And the noise is unbelievable. It's not quite as Asbo as it was, which I actually rate because I thought it was a bit too loud last time. But now with the turbo, it quietens it down as well.
You've got the turbo noise. Always love
flutter.
Doesn't matter who you are, you're gonna love a turbo noise.
Yeah. But thank you very much for bringing it back on the channel. Obviously, shout out to the guy that put the comment down. I'll put the comment on the screen at some point in the video. Shout out that guy for doing that, because there was a couple of people that did comment on the videos and stuff, asking to see this car on the channel again. But thank you for bringing it down now that the build is done. We were in the talks of doing it for quite a while, weren't we?
Yeah.
So thank you very much. And also shout out to you guys for watching. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Please like, comment and subscribe. Make sure you go over to his Instagram, follow. And if you want anything done build-wise, then this is the man to go talk to. And we'll see you in the next one.